Yo! What's happening? Welcome back to Cinders, which is Friday's set of videos. We're gonna go a little shorter today than we did last time. Last time was a good 45 minutes, but hey, we were at the beginning of the video and of the series, and I figured, you know, why not? Alright, so let's go ahead and jump back into this. Now, oh no. Okay, so this is the hard part? Where did I last save? I guess it was this one. Had to be sisters? Does this look right to you? I don't know. Okay, let's see. 6:30 p.m., 8:07 p.m., and 8:08 p.m. So let's take the autosave then, because that's like a whole minute afterwards. Same place. Alright, well, let's get started. Okay, Sophia was posh. Well, it looks like I'm stuck working with you, Cinders. Oh. Well, good thing I saved and all. Why were you so cruel to Gloria? Why were you so cruel to Gloria? Why? Don't you hate her too? Well, maybe, but you're her sister. Aren't you supposed to support each other? Oh, that was a little too British and posh. Oh, if only Gloria believed that. No, there's certainly no support here, and it's mostly her fault. She always acts so smug and self-righteous, but there's no trace of her own will or personality in there. She's just trying to copy Mum, even though it's impossible. And of course, she takes all of her frustration out on me. She probably thinks Mum will recognize her more if she keeps degrading me. I have no reason to be kind to her. I understand, but don't you wish that would... Bleh. Don't you wish that would change? Living under Carmosa is hard enough already. Wouldn't it be better to band together instead of fight each other? Maybe, but why does it matter? Why am I even discussing this with you? I must be getting desperate. Of course I want to be on better terms with Gloria, but she drew the line a long time ago. I may not be as clever or as beautiful as Mom or Gloria, but I'm not naive. People don't just change. They'll remain cruel as long as it benefits them. That's such a sad outlook on life. It must have been really hard for you growing up. Oh, please. I don't need pity, especially not from you. Life is hard and no amount of sweet words will change that. Now let's go get dinner ready before we get in trouble. This is where we learn about Sophia. It'll be nice having someone help me out with dinner for once. Hurry up and take out all the ingredients we're going to need. Why me? Isn't it obvious? I hardly step foot in the place, so naturally I don't know where anything is. Naturally. That doesn't mean you can't help with the Yeah, that. I don't really have a choice in the matter, do I? There's no way you can prepare dinner in 2 hours alone. I'll be in just as much trouble as you if it's not done. Mother isn't forgiving towards anyone. I figured that much out myself. Now here are the ingredients. Yuck! The stench is unbelievable. Are they rotting or something? No. This is just how vegetables smell. They do grow in soil, you know. Sure, but I can't believe you actually live with this odor. I bet sometimes you must feel like a rather large carrot yourself, or beetroot maybe. That's very funny, Sophia. Besides, it wasn't exactly my own choice to move in here. I used to have a proper bedroom before Gloria took it. Of course, how could I forget? Still, you should be grateful. They say that harsh conditions help to build character. You're bound to become a diamond here while poor Gloria softens with every passing hour. Can't you give me a break for once? If that's how it's going to look, I prefer to risk Carmosa's anger and prepare the dinner alone. Oh, fine. Don't be so uptight, sis. One Gloria in this house is too many. She is so bitter. Like, this sister is definitely the most bitter out of all of them. I'm just like plowing through this text and forgetting to like comment on it. I'm so into this. Look at that roaring fire, man. You'd think it'd be pretty hot, though. It's like daytime. So, what was it like before we moved in with you, anyway? Well, that is obviously not going to get us points with Sophia, despite her very bitter demeanor. So, well, let's go ahead and tell her. Do you really want to know? Of course. We've got to talk about something, or else it'll be awfully dull in here. You can't just admit that you're actually interested in my life. Well, if you must know, the moment we started talking, I decided it's better to imagine you're a character for some bad romance novel. She's not really that far off. I love the little, like, slip-ins every now and then to remind you, hey, this is Cinderella and it's based off of a bad romance novel. Sort of. It's much less personal like that. You're such a darling sometimes. I know, right? I may not be the worst or best in the family, but you can't accuse me of lacking creativity. You really can't. I can't wait to show you guys what she's like at the ball. But let's get back to that book you're in. Well, life was different when Father was alive. More carefree. Although I suppose that's how childhood is. Father had a way with kids. I think he was a rather big child himself, always dreaming. I loved it back then. I see. And how do you feel about it now? We are going to save again. And we could say it was suffocating. You know, Father always being a big child. It was too dreamy. This is like the naturalistic way to look at things. It was great. We're going to choose that one. I don't know why. I don't actually know all of the combinations and what upgrades what stat, what I need to actually get the ending I want. I'm just sort of guessing right now. This one does not affect Sophia's liking of me though, I think. It was fantastic. Oh, wrong person. It was fantastic. I loved it all so much. Everything was so magical. He tried very hard to keep the worries of life away from me. It was like living in a fairy tale. Demons. I used to wonder what having a proper father would be like, but I think I'm all cured now. Sounds like keeping in touch with reality wasn't exactly his forte. That may be, but I was just a kid with a happy childhood. There are some dreams you just don't want to wake up from. What about your mother? Do you remember her? Unfortunately, she passed away giving birth to me. I still feel guilty about it, even though I know it doesn't make any sense. Father told me a lot about her, but I don't really know if that's how she was, or just an idealized image. Either way, I know that her death had a huge impact on him. I think he was very lonely. Perhaps that's why he preferred to get lost in his dreams rather than face real life. What a realistic version of a man suffering from the death of his wife. Like, his wife died and he turned to fairy tales and dreams in order to, you know, keep his child happy. Like, how sad. I'm sure it's got even worse after we came into your life, huh? Look how sad she looks. Like, wow, we totally ruined her. See, she's got a heart somewhere in there. Ew, this onion is making my eyes wet. I think she's crying. Give that to me, I'll chop it. If you rinse the knife first, it shouldn't sting that much. As for you, I'd say my life was definitely different after you came in. Oh, just be honest. I know your life has been miserable ever since your father married our lovely mother. Trust me, it's not like Gloria and I wanted this either, and yet here we are, one big happy family. You can be awfully cynical at times. Oh, you noticed. Fine, fine. Yes, my life got worse when you showed up. I'm a servant, no, a slave in my own house. Not like you'd understand. Yes, what could I possibly know about it? Stupid onion. This is so sad. Sounds to me like it's your turn to talk about your life. Well, there's not much to say. That can't be true. It's obvious that a lot happened to you and Gloria. You wouldn't be like this otherwise. Besides, you said you wanted a conversation, so tell me about yourself. Darn you! Fine, but don't say I didn't warn you. When we were children, we lived out in the countryside. Our house wasn't as nice as this one, though. Our father was a military man. He got himself killed in some war, and that left Mother a widow. Oh, I'm sorry. Don't be. I hardly even saw the man. She looked like, she's so like, grr, but also really sad. Like, and I've accepted this. That's why I love this game. These characters have so much depth, and that's obviously like the whole point of this story, is to give you such depth into these many characters. Cinders is not necessarily 100% right. In fact, in this path that I am choosing, she is becoming quite mature because she's trying to see the point of view from her sisters. But in another path that you choose, you can make her totally pig-headed and not pay attention to her sisters at all and just be like, I hate everyone. Don't be. I hardly ever saw the man. When he was around, he was like a complete stranger, not a proper father at all. His death meant nothing to us. What about Carmosa? It must have affected her. Maybe that's why she's the way she is now. Was that supposed to be a joke? Mum didn't care about him any more than we did. Then why did she marry him? Well, why does anyone get married? I'm going to say for love, because I want Cinders to marry for love. How about that weird thing they call love? Or is that too obvious? The only thing that's obvious is how naive you are. Can you show me any actual loving marriages you've seen? I may be stupid, but I'm not dense enough to think that love is the driving force behind a marriage. Love is a luxury. Maybe a rich family like yours can afford it, but for the rest of us, it's a business transaction. Carmosa comes from a poor family. They had a title of nobility, but they'd lost most of their riches and splendor. The only way for her to advance up the social ladder was to marry, and she was ambitious. She married an officer who was relatively rich and had a lot of accolades. She probably planned ahead, even there. For all I know, she chose a man who would probably die in battle so that she could marry even higher later. How can you say that? That's such a cruel assumption. Cruel? It's not like she killed him. He would have died anyway. She just wanted something more out of life. It's still a cold thing to do. It is pretty cold, but you have to admit, in this time period, for a woman who was born to nothing and wanted more, it's kind of, it's devious, but it's ingenious. It's completely correct. That's how she would have gotten out of her station back then. It's not like a woman can do anything by herself in this time period. Cold? Sure it's cold. It's business. I don't see what's wrong with it. Mother's not dumb. She did what she had to. There's not much room in this world for women with ambitions, so you take what you can get. Point in case. So back then, was your life as bad as it is now? Worse. What? How so? Well, you weren't around. And then we feel all like warm and fuzzy inside. Listen, if you're not around, who do you think becomes the victim? Mothers always needed a scapegoat, and Gloria would do anything to please that woman. I'm not as pretty, smart, or ambitious as them. So naturally, she humiliated me, and Mother didn't disapprove. And now that I'm here, they no longer target you. Is that it? I can't disconnect their British accents. I'm trying to make Cinders like a more soft British accent and Sophia a harder British accent, and it's really hard. That's exactly it. Mum and Gloria have a new scapegoat, and my life is finally a little better. Oh, I see. So now that you're no longer tormented, you choose to torment me instead. Of course! Nothing personal, but it's either me or you, and I certainly won't be a victim again. Besides, you should be grateful. Didn't your father shield you from the real world too much? Well, now you get to see exactly what it's like. That's the way of all things. You're either the hunter or the prey. And as long as Mother and Gloria focus on you, I can go back to being my own worthless self. Now we could say you are not cruel and you are not worthless. We want Sophia to feel good about herself because I want my first playthrough to be a nice one. You are not worthless. Just listen to yourself. You're not worthless, ugly, stupid, or even cruel. My mind, what has made you an expert all of a sudden? That's ridiculous. It's obvious the person you hate the most is yourself, but you have no reason to. So you make up all these excuses like you're too stupid or ugly or worthless when you know it's not true. But it's still an easy way out, isn't it? I want you guys to try and find yourself in one of these characters, because I did once a long time ago when I first played this game, and I was actually rather dismayed to find myself a bit like Gloria, in a sense, towards my family and how things were situated, and I was always trying to impress people. And it's interesting to put yourself in these shoes and to see traits of these girls in yourself, traits that you should either make stronger or traits that you should maybe smother a little bit because, you know, they're so dominating and they're not exactly healthy. So I want you guys, your inputs on this, because this is a very intricate game. But it's still an easy way out, isn't it? You prefer to convince yourself you're nothing so that nobody will expect anything more from you. You don't have to change or do anything if you're worthless after all. And you sound like you're trying to convince yourself that you're all-knowing. I've lost their accents. You're not worthless, Sophia. You know that. It's almost endearing how hard you try to see good in other people, but you're just being naive. It's not naive at all. I was paying attention when you were talking and I learned something important. You think you're worthless because you can't measure up to Carmosa or Gloria, but it's the opposite. Carmosa is a woman of strong influence. It's easy to get drawn in and conform to what she wants. The fact that you've resisted means that you're stronger than Gloria. It means you're stronger than Carmosa. I'm sorry you had to suffer for it, but that makes you even more admirable. Look at that. You broke through the shield. You really had it rough, and I know that left a mark on you, but that doesn't make you worthless. You know, I don't need your pity. Ha! Trust me, that's the last thing on my mind. You've still been absolutely horrid to me. But now that I know what happened to you, well, I just wish that you knew better. I've had enough of this. I've done enough work. You can handle the rest of dinner, can't you? Well, you don't really have a choice. I'm leaving. Fine, have it your way. I think Oh, I think we actually chose the wrong choices with Sophia. Oh, she's all mad at us. We didn't succeed. You sure can be self-righteous. And for a girl so cynical and angry with the world. Oh, no, I'm so sad. I thought that those choices wouldn't... You know what? I'm probably just gonna have to roll with it. Because I chose those choices because I was trying to get a specific ending. Alright, we'll shoot for the sisters hardcore in the next playthrough. You sure look, and for a girl so cynical and angry with the world, you sure look like a self-made victim. Then I suppose that entire conversation between us was pointless. Good luck with dinner. What is wrong with her? I can't believe we actually had that conversation. That was definitely unexpected. I think I need some time to think it over. The meal is nearly done anyway. All that's left is to get one of the servants to cook the rest right before it is served. Now I'm too posh. I really need to get out and gather my thoughts. Everyone is busy, so I'm sure no one will notice if I sneak out. The main hallway is empty, no surprise there. As I thought, everyone is busy right now. I don't have much time before dinner, but I'm sure I could sneak out and be back in time. All that talk about my mother reminded me that I haven't been to her grave in a long time. It might be dangerous to sneak out during the day, but I don't know if I'll get another chance. I'll just have to move as quickly as I can. I'm trying to soften it. It's not working. Oh, but you know what is working? That accent's gonna get stuck. Let's go to the cemetery. It's a pretty cemetery. Like, I would come here all the time. Oh, look at this. Look how pretty these colors are. I am a stickler for two things in colors. Two things in video games. Two very important things. These will sell a video game for me, even if the story is subpar. If the story is awful, it doesn't matter how pretty it is. But if the story is subpar, what can still sell it for me is color and music. If the soundtrack is to die for and the colors are freaking this, I will sing the praises for that game, no matter how subpar the story is. I don't remember how long it's been since I last visited this cemetery. Mother's grave isn't hard to find. It's guarded by a statue of an angel crying gracefully. Father's idea. Looking at how much pain the angel is in, it's clear that Father took Mother's death very badly. I can't bring myself to look away from that statue. I'm sorry, Father. The grave must be in terrible condition by now. I haven't had time to care for it. Wait, the grave is clean. Not just clean, but polished as well. Someone must be caring for it. Oh no, I don't have an accent for this woman. I know what accent she's probably supposed to have, but I'm gonna mangle it and sound super racist trying. I'm gonna try and shoot for a Jamaican accent. No, I feel really awkward. Okay, she's supposed to be like a witch doctor type of character, and I'm thinking like Diablo 3 here. Hopefully you guys know what I'm talking about. Like, step away from the grave. No, this is so bad. I'm so sorry. Please don't hate me. Oh god. Okay, resume. Who's there? I've had it with all you grave robbers. Folk like you have no shame. What are you talking about? I'm not a grave robber. Of course you aren't. And I'm the... Hold on. I know you. You're... I'm gonna lose this accent. It's gonna go... You're Carmosa's stepdaughter. Now she's Scottish. I am. I suppose you know Carmosa. No, Carmosa. Of course not. But I sure know you. I'm barely hanging on to it by a thread. Well, I guess you have an advantage over me then. I have no idea who you are. You don't know. I live in the town. Folk here call me Madame Guide.